Hello and welcome to Hooking Up 3.0. This is the most up-to-date and current version of the Hooking Up workshop where we walk you step by step through how to take your hooks from boring to binge-worthy. So let's dive right in. Hi, I'm Brienne. If we haven't already met, I'm Brienne Williams. I'm a social media strategist, agency owner who specializes in helping entrepreneurs and small business owners not only grow their accounts, but stand out online. So I help businesses and entrepreneurs just like you figure out their it factor and create content that stops the scroll so that you stand out from your competition, you grow, you make sales, and you bring in new leads consistently from your content. So you might be asking, well, why you? There's plenty of people that talk about hooks on Instagram. Why should we listen to you? Well, glad you asked. This is why. I spent the majority of my 20s working in live television for IndyCar, for ESPN, ABC, CBS, and the Outdoor Channel. I covered IndyCar racing on ESPN and ABC. So I was a live pit reporter, meaning I stood in the pits and in real time talked about what was happening with that car. My brain literally had to think in 8-second spurts, right? I had to be able to keep your attention, keep you hooked on the story happening with this car and this driver so that you wouldn't change the channel. My brain is literally trained and designed to think in hooks. So that's what makes me so good at this. And it's why I'm so good at helping you write better hooks too. Okay, so what can you expect from today's workshop? I want you to understand what makes a great hook in the first place, elements that you can start testing in your own hooks, how to never run out of ideas, and then what next steps you can take after this. All right, so first of all, what the heck is a hook, right? So going to show you the dictionary. The dictionary says a hook is a piece of material or metal curved to catch hold of or hanging things on. But we're going to use this definition. It is an opening statement, which is usually the first sentence in an essay that attempts to grab the reader's attention so they want to read on. It can be done by using a few different types of hooks, which are question, quote, statistic, or anecdote. And we're going to show you some actually different ones than that today. But a good hook is this. Essentially, a good hook is simple, it is specific, it is shareable, and it is sneaky. And you might be like, what the heck does that mean? I will break all of these down, I promise. But I want you to remember simple, specific, shareable, and sneaky. Okay. A good hook is also often controversial. It is funny and sometimes shocking. All right. So, your hook, I want you to really think of being like the you had me at hello moment, right? It's the thing that, like, as soon as you started talking, you got me sucked in. I'm hooked, literally, and I'm paying attention. I want to learn all you have to share with me. Okay. It's your you had me at hello movement or moment. Okay. So chances are what you're saying is not new information, right? Very few Instagram accounts and social media accounts are so groundbreaking that we've never heard this information before. So if we know that, then how can you explain it to me in a way that I finally understand? How can you tell me this information in a way that I've never heard it before? If you can do that, I am yours. If you can tell me the same information I've heard time and time again, but this time it clicks and this time I get it, I am all yours. Okay, so this is the fun part. We're going to go over what doesn't work. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I'm going to share some hooks. Hopefully, I kept these anonymous. These are not going to work. Okay, all right. This does not work. 5 things you should do 5 things you should do. This is not even written right. Okay, 5 things you should do make you productive. Okay, well, we have problems right out the gate. That doesn't work. There is zero reason to keep reading or watching. It is a snooze fest, right? This style of hook went out 3 years ago. So no more 3 tips, 4 things, 5 things you should do, XYZ. We're not doing that anymore. This is not working. 5 things you need to know about ovulation. That does not work. Okay, here's another one. Why metabolic strength keeps you strong for life. What does that even mean? right? It kind of leaves you going, huh? Okay. And this, the testimonials, clients, 5 stars. She was great. I loved working with her. What do you think we're going to write in these client testimonials? Nobody's going to share a bad one. So we don't read them because we know what it's going to say. She was awesome, blah, 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 etc. They're super generic and boring. Okay. So we've kind of covered examples of what does not work. Here's what does. This is the good stuff. Okay. Bethany Frankel, magic under eye secret weapon. That is way more compelling than saying my favorite concealer, right? It would be very easy for her to say, this is my favorite concealer. I probably still would have watched because it's her. But she said, magic under eye secret weapon. You're like, okay, tell me the brand, tell me where I can buy it, show me how it works. I need it now, right? She is a genius when it comes to language and marketing. You should be following her if you're not already. Okay, how about this one? She wakes up at 3 a.m. every morning craving chocolate chip cookies. Here's why. That is so specific. If you are having those kinds of cravings and waking up going, why am I hungry? And why do I want sweet stuff all the time in the middle of the night? You're going to stop and read this. They've got you hooked because it's specific. Okay, how about this one? Where does the contour, bronzer, and blush go? Tells me exactly what I'm going to learn. It is, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to work hard to figure it out. I'm very clear that I'm going to learn where to put the contour, where to put the bronzer, and where to put the blush. I instantly know whether or not this piece of content is for me or not. Okay. So let's go back to those hooks that were not so good and see if we can fix them. Okay. This is kind of fun. All right. So the first one, 5 things you should do to make yourself more productive. How about this? I started doing this every morning and now I actually finish my to-do list. Little better, right? You might actually be more compelled to read on or watch the reel. Okay, how about another version of that? The weird way I became a productive person. Okay, you're like, ooh, weird. That has me kind of interested. What do you mean weird? You want to know more. Okay, let's look at the next one. Instead of why metabolic strength keeps you strong for life, how about why you absolutely need to lift weights if you're over 40? Now I know, because I'm over 40, that I need to pay attention to this. It's a very strong statement that tells me why I need to do this. Okay, I want to know more. Here's another example. Strength training is non-negotiable for anyone over 40. Here's why. That is a bold statement. So I'm way more compelled to listen to what you have to say because you're coming at me with authority. Okay, let's look at another version. How I revved up my metabolism in my 50s. All right, that's interesting, especially if I'm 50 or older. I want to know how to rev up my metabolism. That is way more interesting than why metabolic strength keeps you strong for life. It's probably the same thing, but I don't know what metabolic strength is. And you haven't interested me or intrigued me enough to find out. That's a problem. Hey, let's look at another one. All right, 5 things you need to know about ovulation. How about what your doctor isn't telling you about ovulation? That's more interesting. Okay, let's look at these testimonials. Okay, so the best way to use a testimonial, rather than just the boring ones that we looked at before, the best way for you guys to utilize testimonials in your content is to use them to overcome an objection that you commonly get. Okay, so these are going to be things like price, time, will it work, not knowing if they are the right fit. So if you can use a testimonial that tells a story to overcome that objection, you kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So for example, if the objection is it's too much money, okay, then I'm going to tell a story of a client who made back her investment in just 3 weeks. So now I've shown you proof that I get results, proof that this works and proof that somebody not only paid for it, but made money plus since she's worked with me, right? So that the return on investment of working with me is very clear. It's not going to be a waste of money. It works. We overcome that objection with this hook. Okay, here's another one. Sarah was worried she wouldn't get results. Here's what she said after working with me, right? We overcome the objection with the testimonial. Okay, here's another one. She almost didn't sign up because, and then you get to fill in the blank. She was worried it would, be too time consuming, or she wouldn't get results, or it was too much money, or she was, whatever your objections are. That's a really good way to start a hook that tells the story of a great testimonial that you can use to overcome objections. She almost didn't sign up because. Okay. So let's look now at some of my best performing hooks and why they worked. All right. So this first one is a really, really great hook that it's 2-3 years old and it still brings me leads to this day because it sparks curiosity. Okay, here it is. Don't post anything on Instagram before you do this. Okay, this was a carousel post that led to my bio bootcamp, which was a freebie that I used to offer. You want to know what the thing is that you shouldn't do. You instantly are like, what? What is it? What should I do before I post? It sparks curiosity. Okay, so it's sneaky. It makes you go, wait, what? And it gets you to read the rest of the carousel or watch the rest of the reel. Okay, this single hook and post has brought me more leads than almost anything in my business. Hooking up has probably replaced it now, but this was a game changer for my business. And really, this post was one of the biggest lead generators for me. Okay, here's another one. So this is the curiosity piece or the sneaky piece. Here's an authority piece. How my student went from 116 to 56,000 followers. It's authority. It's showing you proof that I have been able to get results for other people. Big results. That is authority, and it makes you want to read more. Okay. Here's a humor hook that has performed really well for me. This is on a reel where in the back, that is Baryshnikov. He's a famous ballerina and he's doing pirouettes over and over and over and over, like a million of them. And it just says, not me, letting my reel play over and over again on my husband's phone. Okay. That's a funny kind of self-deprecating hook that is shareable. It is engaging and it gets people to watch. Okay, here's some connection hooks. All right, so attention all moms who are scrolling Amazon for back to school stuff right now. Instantly calls out my demographic. If you are a mom with kids who are going back to school and you are currently looking on Amazon for school supplies, calls you right out. This is another one. Moms need a different kind of strategy to build a successful business online. These are all mom related, right? The real reason I'm obsessed with helping women make their own money. And then my business blew up this year because I stopped launching like the bros and started marketing like a mother. Okay. If you're a mom, one of these probably got your attention. Okay. Here are more connections. Okay. This again with the negative hook. Do not post a trial reel before doing this. So I used that same template that worked for me before, redid it last summer, and it worked again. Okay. Here's another one. I never know what to post. If that's you, guess what? You probably watched that reel because it got your attention. How about this one? Point of view. You hate Instagram because you never know what to post. And then you find my account and you go viral for the first time. And then underneath it, it says sharing daily real ideas you can copy. Pretty cut and dry. It tells you right away who it's for and what's in it for you. Okay, and then this is another similar one. Point of view, your real views are in the gutter, and then you find my account and you go viral for the first time. Same idea, right? Okay. So let's do some workshopping on like starting with an okay hook and how to make it like an awesome, this is going to make you money and bring you followers hook, because that's really what we're here for, right? Okay. So let's do this. All right. So instead of design tips for your living room or cozy room makeover, those are kind of vanilla, right? What if instead of that, we did this? How I would decorate your home to feel like Anthropologie, right? It gives a very clear aesthetic. If you like Anthropologie style and vibes, you're going to be like, ooh, tell me how. I want my house to look like Anthropologie. Okay. Here's another example. Or kitchen makeover with a Nancy Meyers vibe. Okay. Again, this is a very specific audience because Nancy Meyers is an author or a filmmaker. Like the movie The Holiday. What's another one? I'm trying to think. But she's kind of famous because in her movies, the kitchens and the homes are just like this very gorgeous, kind of cozy, want to sit and have a cup of tea vibe. And the kitchens in her movies are always like highly shared and they are instantly famous because they're gorgeous. So kitchen makeover with a Nancy Meyers vibe is going to pull in a very specific woman or a very specific person. Yeah. Okay. Here's another example. This is one of my favorites. All right. Productivity tip for busy moms. That's not, even though you say busy moms, it's still not very specific. And productivity tips is kind of like, okay, this is going to be boring information that I don't want to read anyway, right? So this is no bueno. How about this instead? How I managed to get the laundry out of the dryer as a mom of two busy kids. That would speak to me instantly because at my house, the laundry stays in the dryer for like days on end. Okay. So instead of saying how to make you more productive, I'm going to say, here's how you're actually going to get the laundry out of the dryer before the end of the week. Okay. Now you have my attention because that's exactly how that symptom is showing up in my life. Okay. All right. Let's do another one. Instead of core workouts to shed lower belly fat. Okay. Maybe that gets your attention. It's still pretty vanilla. How about this instead? Start doing these now, and you'll never fake a migraine to get out of wearing a bathing suit again. You see how much more bold and specific that is? We are calling out the exact woman in giving the exact way this thing that you solve, this problem that you solve, is showing up in her life. Not with vague terminology, but exactly how it is showing up in her day-to-day life, right? By saying, if you've ever faked a migraine to get out of wearing a bathing suit, this is for you. Got it? Okay, let's do another one. This is another one. Start doing these now and you'll be unrecognizable by summer. Okay. This is one of my favorites. All right, how to feel more confident in your body. All right. No woman is laying her head down on the pillow at night going, oh, I just wish I felt more confident in my body. She's saying other things. Okay. And when we use those other things that she's saying or thinking or feeling in our content, in our hooks, that's when we actually like magnetize her to our offers, to our content. Okay. We do it like this. So instead of how to feel more confident in your body, try this. Imagine wanting to have sex with the lights on. So that's a little spicy, right? But she doesn't want to feel more confident in her body just to feel more confident in her body. She wants to feel more confident in her body so that, right? That's how we write hooks that stop the scroll. That's the difference. Okay, let's try this. So if you're a realtor in that market, instead of saying new listing or check out this new house in your city, try, if I bought this house, this is where I would have my morning coffee. Okay. Or here's another one. Instead of cute outfits for school pickup, try Carline Couture part 1, part 2. You could turn it into a series. Instead of Amazon leggings I'm loving, try don't tell anyone, but I've worn these leggings every day this week and you will too. Which one are you more likely to click and get the leggings? All right, here's another quick little thing that you can add to your hooks that kind of instantly updates them. These little words will instantly improve a hook. So we're gonna change that 2025 to 2026. So adding the numbers 2026 to the end of a hook. So what's working on Instagram in 2026? In January, that'll be a really good hook because you know that it's current, up to date, new information. What all the beauty insiders are talking about in 2026, right? What all the elementary school teachers are raving about, the book they're raving about in 2026. Okay. Adding the word finally to the front of a hook. Finally, a way to blank. You could do in just 1 week. So, how I blank in just 1 week, or in just 30 days, or in under an hour, right? We add that timeline to the end of it. Adding the word without at the end. So, how I blank without. How I grew my Instagram account without paid ads. Or how I grew on Instagram without posting twice a day. See how that works? And then this one is one of my all-time favorites because this is the perfect hook for you to use to build authority and expertise and be seen as that industry leader in your niche. Add this to your hook. As a blank, insert your profession or area of expertise. I would never blank, 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 right? So let me give you an example. As a social media strategist, I would never post a reel without doing this first. As a makeup artist of 20 plus years, I would never use this product. Or as a makeup artist for Hollywood movies, I always use this product on every one of my actresses, or I've used this product on every movie set, right? It instantly sets you up as an authority just by reminding us that this is who you are and why we should listen, right? Okay, so how do you find good hooks, right? I want you to kind of like, I don't expect your brain to work like mine where I kind of think in hooks, but I want you to kind of go on a hook hunt. And here's what I mean by that. As you scroll social media, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, whatever platform you happen to be on, I want you to start paying attention to what is getting your attention. So if it stopped your scroll, it's probably going to stop someone else's too. So when something stops your scroll and gets your attention, I want you to stop and go, okay, what was it about this post that got my attention? What was it about the hook? Was it that it was like a don't do this? It was kind of a negative, like warning type hook. Was it really interesting or funny? Did it spark my curiosity? What was it about the hook that got my attention? Was it something visual that I saw? Start paying attention to those details because that's the stuff you're going to carry with you as you go to create content after the fact. It matters. Okay, here's another way to think about the hooks. And this is kind of a sneak peek into what we do inside the Cash Content Club. But you can think about hooks from this angle as well. Think about them with the word cash. Okay. So again, this is totally a sneak peek you're getting right now. But my cash content strategy breaks content down like this into connection, authority, solution, and how to. Okay. So your hooks can fall in these categories as well. So connection, we went through some of these hooks earlier. They are highly shareable. They're often humorous and they are relatable. Okay. Here's some other examples of these. Like this Home Alone reel I post every Christmas, and it always does well because it's all three of these. It is highly shareable, it's funny, and it's relatable. The Julia Louis-Dreyfus has gone mega viral over and over and over again for the same reason. It is funny, it is highly shareable, and it's relatable. Okay, so that's connection content. The next one is that authority piece. So, as a social media manager, you can see that one up there in the top left. Tips from a social media manager, part one: how I took my student from 56 or 116 followers to 56K. That is an authority hook. Okay. So, authority hooks or authority content are often social proof, testimonials, the 2.0 version that I walked you through, not the generic old school type, results that you've even either gotten for yourself or for others. And they can also be just reminding people of who you are and what you're an expert at. Because if they've never met you or seen your page or your content, you have to tell them who the heck you are, right? Okay, so solution content. Solution content is going to talk about your unique methodology. It's going to talk about your frameworks. This is also really good for sales. Okay, so steal my cash content strategy. You read that and you're like, what is it? What do you mean? That sounds interesting. I like cash, right? How about this one? You started doing this for 5 minutes every day, and now you always have something to post. Okay, what was it? Right? Okay. How to. These are often going to be simple. Simple is the keyword. Simple tutorials or quick wins. All right. So hooks that work in 2025. Again, use that. I added that 2025 to show that this is current. This is new. This is up to date information. As a social media manager, I would never post a reel without doing this first. This one crosses both of those lines too. It's an authority piece of content, and it's also a how to because it shows them what to do before they post. I walked them through in that reel how to download a reel before they post it. And then this one, these carousels are getting big results right now. And I walk people through how to create a simple photo carousel. It's a simple tutorial giving the audience a quick win. That's a how-to piece of content or a how-to hook. Okay, here's a couple more examples. This is more how-to. Viral reel idea, even if your current views are embarrassingly low. And then I say how to use it to grow your IG in the caption. Here's a 5-minute reel. Here's another viral reel idea that's perfect for product-based businesses. Cool. And then it says step-by-step instructions in the caption. Awesome. I'd love a viral reel idea and tell me exactly how to do it. Let's go, right? I make it very, very clear what this piece of content is about and what's in it for them, right? Okay. All right. So before you post anything else ever again, I want you to ask yourself, is this simple? Is it clear? And when I say clear, I always use my daughter as an example. She's now in 5th grade, but I say, would she understand this? Would a 4th or 5th grader understand what the heck I mean? And if the answer is no, that hook is not ready, right? You cannot talk like an expert in your hooks or in your content and expect it to work. You have to talk the language of the person viewing it. Would a 4th or 5th grader understand it? That's the level of clear your content needs to be. Is it specific? Are we giving those specific, drilled down examples of how this symptom or problem is showing up in their life? Is it relatable? Is it something that I would want to know more about? Does it make me want to know more? Okay. So, is it simple? Is it clear? Is it specific? Is it relatable? Would I want to know more? And honestly, does it get them to self identify? We want our content, we want your hooks to get the person viewing them to go, oh my gosh, she's talking about me. That is me. How did you know? That's what we want to happen when your content shows up on somebody's page. All right. So I know that was a lot of information, but let's talk about next steps because this is really where this gets good. Okay. So the next step for you, if you've watched this and you're like, this makes so much sense, and I see how she is able to take a hook and like instantly make it better, right? But then you're thinking, but I'm not sure I can do that. Okay. If that's the case, the Cash Content Club is your new home. So the Cash Content Club is my content club slash membership. I don't use the word membership often because it's a one-time fee. This is not a monthly charge situation. You pay one time and you're in for the entire year. So inside the Cash Content Club, you can actually get my help with your hooks. So you post in the community, you ask me to rewrite hooks, you tell me what you're working on, and I will help you craft a hook that works specifically for your niche. You also get every single Monday hand delivered, well, emailed, hand delivered. I email you custom hooks broken down using my cash content strategy. So you know exactly which ones to post for growth. You know which ones to use for sales and which ones to use for leads. So it makes it very, very simple, and you get my eyeballs and my help on your content. So this is a limited time offer, but you can get in the club for $77 for the entire year, which is unheard of. Most memberships charge a monthly fee. We do not do that. It is a one-time fee or yearly fee. If you want to stay in the next year, you would be charged again, but it is $77 for the entire year. Twice a month group coaching calls with me live to get me to help right there and then with your content. I can review your page, your reels, all of it. And you get my real time feedback and help on your content, on your account, and my help writing hooks that stop the scroll. So if that sounds like everything you've ever wanted, you're not alone. It is a popular place, but it is a limited time offer. That price is going up soon. So jump in now to the club. We would love to have you. And you probably are in time to catch one of our monthly coaching calls if you hurry. So it has been my pleasure helping you guys with your hooks today. I hope that you have taken some helpful tips, at least on how to look at hooks differently. Start paying attention to what gets your attention, right? And if you need me, if you have questions, my DMs are always open. I am rooting for you, and I hope to see you inside the club.